Conor McGregor, the Notorious, brought us so many unforgettable moments. From his beef with Nate Diaz to his hilarious trash talk, the guy was the full package. In his prime, he was one of the greatest lightweights ever. But at UFC 264, our favorite trash talker suffered a complete break in his shin. Ouch! While we want to see him back in the octagon for sure, there are some concerns about his recovery. Let's dive in. First up, the fallout from McGregor's gruesome injury at UFC 264. This was one of the most exciting events the UFC ever gave us. Not only did we get to see the Mystic Mac vs. Poirier trilogy fight, but we also got to witness Dorino and Tuivasa work their magic. It was amazing. The night was incredible, but guys, there's no way any moment topped Poirier's victory over Conor. It was spectacular and horrifying. We had to witness our man's shin break in half. We won't be forgetting that anytime soon, that's for sure. His injury was insane, but that's a topic for another video. What we want to talk about are the circumstances surrounding his recovery. What do you guys think? He must be in the middle of a painfully long recovery process, right? Wrong. Somehow, this guy is fully recovered in just a year. A year, by the way, that he spent outside the USADA testing pool. That's not weird at all. The plan was for the fighter to leave the pool for his recovery period and then jump right back in a year later. You've got to understand, guys, this is very unusual. Weidman and Silva both suffered virtually the same injury, and they weren't allowed this sort of treatment. Yeah, you can probably guess, this USADA business ruffled a lot of feathers, and some major players in the MMA community had things to say. Following up, Joe Rogan's comments on his recovery and physique. Alright, first off, Rogan is a legend in the MMA community, and the things he says are treated as gospel by many diehard fans and casuals alike. So it makes sense that Conor was so upset when the guy confidently declared on his podcast that the fighter was juiced. Now, we're not saying we think Joe was right on this one, guys, but he seemed confident, and the guy does know his stuff. He very famously takes PEDs himself, but he's open about it. And when athletes or bodybuilders on PEDs lie, well, you best believe he'll call them out. He was in the middle of calling out the Liver King with his guest Derek from More Plates, More Dates, but unfortunately for the Mystic Mac, things didn't stay on topic. Joe, being an MMA guy, couldn't help but bring him up. Yeah, sorry, but he wasn't going to let this USADA thing slide. He straight up claimed that Conor's physique was not natural, and that being outside the testing pool meant that he was definitely on steroids. You'd think Rogan would condemn him, right? Well, so did we, but that's not exactly what happened. The host said he understood why the fighter would take PEDs, and even called it wise for him to prioritize his healing. Wow, that's very charitable. Mac was still upset though, which might not make sense till you remember Joe was there when he broke his leg, and the post-fight interview turned the guy's lowest moment into a meme. It was hilarious. But don't come at us, Conor fans. We're with you. We want to see him back. Up next, Rogan wasn't the only one to express his thoughts on the situation. Two other big names in the MMA scene are Michael the Count Bisping and Anthony Lionheart Smith. These two legends of the sport also had things to say about McGregor leaving the USADA testing pool. Both of them speculated that he was on PEDs. Pretty bad, we know. But wait, it gets worse. Smith was furious at the guy and called it an unfair display of favoritism for the fighter to be allowed to leave the pool only to join again a year later. What do you think, guys? Is it unfair? We're kind of torn, to be honest, because as Joe said, he did need to heal from a pretty horrific injury. It still sends shivers down our spines just thinking about the way that leg snapped. Yikes. Anyway, Anthony went at him hard, for sure, but surprisingly, even comedians are talking about the whole thing. Andrew Schulz had a whole segment on his podcast, Flagrant, about whether it was unfair for Conor to do PEDs. And yeah, Rogan and Smith's comments annoyed him, but those are bona fide MMA guys. Schulz, not so much. He's an MMA fan, sure, but we all know McGregor isn't very fond of being mocked. Now for a time the fighter faced such accusations in the past. The Mystic Mac is known for many things. His careless trash talk? Sure. His ego? Yes, definitely. But cheating? Yeah, no. Still, you'd be surprised to know the man was accused of PED use once before as well. McGregor was supposed to fight Dos Anjos for UFC 196. Unfortunately, the fight never happened. Yeah, it was a real bummer. What did happen, though, was that in preparation for fighting in a heavier weight class, he bulked up, and boy did he do it fast. Now, even though this could be suspicious, the man is a physically exceptional exceptional athlete. And once in a while, we do get to see these freaks of nature, like Yoel Romero, whose bodies can do crazy things. We mean, just look at Conor. The guy's got the wingspan of a jet. Anyway, after he went up to another weight class so fast, he was famously accused of using PEDs. And who do you think made these accusations? You guessed it. It was Nate Diaz's team, his coach. The point is, this man has dealt with accusations that could affect his legacy, and maybe this had something to do with how he exploded at everyone who accused him. Coming up, the Irish MMA fires back. Okay, people have been talking, but did you guys expect him to just sit by and take it? No. In true McGregor fashion, our man fired back on Twitter, and he didn't spare anyone. First off, he went after Smith, using his trademark insult rat to describe the MMA legend. Not only did he call him a talentless rat, yikes, he also brought up Lionheart's TKO loss to Magomed Ankalaev. That one's gotta hurt. He seems to think everyone calling him out is trying to get some quick clout. He went off about how no one other than Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva could understand his pain, and that Rogan, who was on PEDs himself, needed to shut up. As if calling Joe a joker and telling him to shut up wasn't enough, he also shared a picture of the guy on Twitter, showing how his body looks now versus 25 years ago. Yeah, Joe's in great shape, guys. He is on PEDs after all. We're fine with that, because it's not like he isn't open about it. But Conor, well, let's just say he had some colorful things to say. To paraphrase the great Mystic Mac, Rogan looks like his urine could melt through his pants. Now, he's pretty chill, so we're sure McGregor's remarks will just be funny to him. Next up, fans and Chael Sonnen come to his defense. Conor fans are some of the most loyal in the MMA community, so we weren't surprised at all when they came to their hero's defense. The fans went wild on Twitter, posting tweet after tweet in defense of the guy. We see you, McGregor fans. The main arguments in his favor were pretty much along the lines of what Rogan said. Surprisingly, things about how he was an elite athlete and needed his bones to heal. Now, we're not saying the fans are wrong, but come on, guys. Joe was pretty charitable to your boy, and you guys are agreeing with him. Anyway, in something of a surprise twist, Chael Sonnen spoke up for Mac. Yeah, Uncle Chael to the rescue. He completely denied any allegations that the fighter was on PEDs, saying the man was probably joking. We don't know, Sonnen. He doesn't agree with you, but hey, the fans were loving it. Finally, Brendan Schaub, Conor's most loyal defender. Sure, Uncle Chael and the fans rose for McGregor, but one man has always been there to defend him no matter what. That's right, we're talking about Schaub, who, by the way, is very good friends with Joe Rogan. Brendan made a whole video about how everyone needed a layoff of Mac, and that the guy was severely injured. He talked about how the mixed martial artist was smart if he used PEDs because his literal leg was on the line. He argued that the guy wasn't fighting, so it was ridiculous to make any accusations of cheating. He was just trying to recover. Honestly, guys, Schaub didn't hold any punches in his defense of the Mac, going so far as to say that he was perfectly fine with him even if he was using PEDs. Now that's a friend indeed. Not only did Brendan defend McGregor's potential steroid use, he even called out Anthony Smith, saying he didn't understand why he was making such a big deal about it. Well, at least the fans agree with him. His defense also turned into praise at some point. He said that just because he was whacked didn't mean PEDs were involved. After all, as we mentioned before, Conor is a freak of nature. That's a wrap, guys. Do you think McGregor being on PEDs is cheating? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe. See you in the next one.